it cools off. I mean, it's got a lot of time, people. So let me walk through here. I'm just letting it all go, man. Look at it. But again, watermelons, 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 watermelons. Moringa. Said little guy. Moringa, watermelons, amaranth, corn, purple corn, Peruvian. There's another moringa. There's another moringa. I threw moringa seeds in here all over the place. Now that will bust up the soil, put a nice big root down in there. And watermelon. Dogs again. Moringa. Hey! Hey! Come on. Ding dong. Anyways. Moringa. Look at that one. That's a beauty. First season moringa. Now I have a moringa in a pot, in a bucket. They don't like to be transplanted, I can assure you. They do not like it. There's some more wild quinoa, I believe. Watermelon coming up. I did water a little bit, man. It got hot this year and there's not enough soil. So that is a mimosa, I believe, which is a very, very good tree for making tea. I'll just leave it. Tomatoes everywhere. I take the sticks that fell off the tree and use them to trellis. It's fun. Gives me it's like putting a puzzle together every year of different sticks that fell and things that need to climb on. Look at this abundance. Abundance. Oh, abundance. I got a colander full of tomatoes last night. And I left these to ripen up today. And then there'll be more and more and more. Hey, something ate one, look. Something drilled into that one. Pretty good. There are a few. I'm going to just get rid of that. Wah! Throw it over there for the birds in the neighbor's yard. I'm have at it. Now, I did prune in here the other day. You can see I cut a few of these branches off. I finally did it. It was all year I did not do it. I just let these bush out. Last year I made soil, dug an enormous hole, put in a bunch of tomatoes, and I worked them hard. I did hard pruning, pulled the suckers off, single stemmed it, all this. Got a lot of productivity out of it. But this one I didn't do anything to it because I realized it was so hot so soon it needed shade. It needed to shade itself, okay, from the sun, or it would be toast. These would all be toast. And look at all this stuff, quinoa. I let all this grow up to shade the ground, retaining the water better, shade these plants so they don't get burnt to a crisp. And it looks crazy, but I assure you, my neighbor who has tomatoes right, I'll show you, there, full sun. Can you see? Can I see that? Sun's coming up. Oh, blinding. Hey, you see that little stand of tomatoes there? Full sun. Nothing around it. Full sun. Horrible production. They almost died. They're barely alive now. They got nothing from it. Full shade. As much shade as these things wanted to give themselves. I let them decide for themselves. You see what I mean? They know what they want. They know how to shade themselves, protect themselves. That's the thing. So, earlier in the year, these people made fun of me. They were like, well, don't eat too much out of that yard, Steve. That's almost a perfect version of my neighbor Herb. Well, don't eat too much out of that yard. I said, hey, it's a food forest, Herb. It's supposed to look crazy. It's nature. He's like, whatever. He's a cattle rancher, man. He's got herds of cattle and farms all over the place and stuff, so he doesn't get this at all. He's into the hard working life of farming. And I'm into letting nature take over and do its thing because look at it, it works better. This is collard, I believe, or a type of kale maybe, but it's getting tore up. Now I don't thrive on eating brassicas particularly, so you know, they can have it. Don't care. What's left, I'll throw to the fish. They'll love it. This is comfrey, planted next to There's another mulberry tree in there. See it? There's a mulberry. And this thing, by the way, someone tell me what that is. I have no idea. I didn't plant it. Had to slap a mosquito off my hand. Sorry. I'll get over there in a second. Somebody help me identify this thing. It just shot up on its own. It outgrew moringa. That's how virile it is, I guess, right? There's another one of that species. Don't know what it is. It's there though. Anyway, so here's some more bird netting I used to cover grapes. There's some grapes there. There's grapes all down here. Now I've picked a gallon of grapes off this. It's in its second year. Those are grapevines I got for $2 at the end of the season. Root bound, so root bound. This one still hasn't unwound its roots. It produced a few grapes, but it needs to unwind. This one unwound fastest and bestest, as they say. So it produced already. Next year this will be all right. It'll produce all of around here. There are grapes on most of these posts, and they'll produce better next year. This is a mulberry planted from a cutting from a wild mulberry back in that forest on the edge there. These are more trees that popped up on their own, but in here are blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, you can see in there. And this would be plum trees, right? I have a plum tree, two different types. These are the closest I've came to putting two trees in the same hole is this. They're about 4 feet apart. I dug an enormous hole and put them on opposites, toward the opposite sides of the holes. But they're going to be sharing pollinators, right? So they're going to pollinate great. Strung this bird netting, or I wouldn't have eaten any grapes. I'll tell you what, they would have got those. So there are in there, again, there's a bunch of, there are 2 trees and a bunch of blackberries and stuff. Now there is an enormous, by the way, spider web in here, which I found yesterday, and I ain't going near that. It's unbelievable. There it is. Oh my God. Look at this guy. Let me see. It's kind of hard to see with the sun. Oh my God. Look at that thing. Look at that thing. You want to walk into that, I'll tell you what, I don't. So I ain't going in there till the cold snap. There's some more grapes on the, see that? It's unwinding. Slowly but surely, Shirley. Stop calling me Shirley. There they are. Anyways, these are God knows what. I mean, possibly there's some Egyptian spinach woven in here, or some of these other God knows what. That thing, by the way, I took these fallen branches and arched them up over some old tomato cages and put the bird netting over it, or I wouldn't have had any blackberries. But I got plenty. I'll post some pics. Gotta do that one again. Abundance. Uh-oh, mosquitoes found me now. I gotta keep moving, people. That's one thing about this. You'll have a few mosquitoes. Moringa. Right? Blue violet. Wild. Okay, now in here, wild strawberry, you see it? Delicious. Small little berry. Under these pokeweeds, I left these pokeweeds and I let them grow up among the strawberries again, and pine berries. There are strawberries, pine berries. Let's see if I can get one on here. There's one, right? They're all in there. I planted them this spring. Had a few berries. I wasn't gonna be like, I'm gonna pick all the flowers so it produces better later, because I just didn't cover it with bird netting for a while. I let the birds have a few for a while. Then when they started getting better at producing, I bird netted this thing. All I did is, as you can see, I zip tied old broken limbs onto this fence and arched it up over, and just enough to get, well, here, I'll do it. Just enough to get in there. I used a limb to hold it down here, but I can just lift this up over my head. Now I'm inside here, right? Now I can go in here. Strawberries, grapes, Oh, look at that thing. What'd I tell you? Huh. It's cooling down, so now these are going to start kicking again, I hope. Looks like it. This is a giant strawberry patch. At some point, I may just have to cut this pokeweed if it's competing too much. Look at all these grapes. Abundance! Abundance! I don't know why I had to do that. Anybody? Is there a psychiatrist in the house? Oh, I just ate 3 grapes. Fantastic. More grapes. Alright, I gotta wrap this up before the sun blinds me. I mean, I'm from 700-800 miles north of here. It ain't sunny where I grew up. It's more like, well, Michigan. It's Alaska, man. It's basically Alaska. There you go. Flop that back down. Cover that up. Quinoa. Wild grains. Alright, let me get out of here. These are all wild strawberries, by the way, I'm walking on. This little berry here, look. Where's my hand? Oh. Oh. There you go. Anyone? I'm eating it. I'm eating it, people. Reset. Delicious. You know, I heard the guy from Permaculture Homestead talking shit about my freaking natural strawberries. And I love that guy. He's like, hey, these wild berries, we just throw them in smoothies, they ain't that sweet. Hey, come on, man. Come on, man. They're delicious. Take what nature gives you. You know, don't expect it to get that much better. It's nature, baby. It's fantastic. In fact, I object to my own characterization of that as getting better. They're just different. But those will pollinate and feed pollinators, and you can eat them. Okay, but anyways, I love that guy. Permaculture Homestead. There's a shout out to that guy. I watch him all the time. He's a little more organized than me. But I'm catching up to him. I'm trying to find you the blueberries that are in here. They're in there. There it is. Look. You'll see it. Boom. That'll survive through this heat spell here. There's another one under here. I just let them get overrun with weeds because otherwise they'd be burned to a crisp this year. My neighbors told me that one. They're from Georgia, so they know. That, by the way, beautiful fig tree. Well, I planted it in the spring a few months ago. Moringa, see it? Another moringa. It's about 4-footer. More God knows what, squashes, beans. That looks like a bean. Probably is. Whatever lived is living. Whatever died is not here anymore. So I just figured I'd let things get to their maturity and find out what they are then, instead of trying to micromanage it this year. Oh, there, see, you can see some of the fish tank system over there.